Hello everyone, welcome to another discussion on my channel. It's me, Andres Restart. I am joined by my good friend Brandon from What About Nintendo. How you doing, bro?
Doing great.
Yeah?
Doing really, really good. Yeah.
Good.
I've been doing a lot. You want to go into what I've been doing, or?
Go ahead.
Hi. So, actually, I had one of my friends who had been gone away for college. He went to the Dallas University. I think I might have mentioned him on the podcast, maybe. I don't know. But he actually came over. He's back on Thanksgiving break, so he came over and he doesn't have Mario Odyssey yet. I did buy him a Switch back when it first came out.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't have Mario Odyssey, so he just played Mario Odyssey like the entire game, or the entire day. He got like over halfway through the game in one sitting.
Oh,
so
like you mean story, right?
Yeah, through the story. He did some other stuff. I think he has like 150 moons or so.
Okay.
And he's about halfway through the story. Yeah, but we had a great time. That's pretty much all I did. Oh, and I also recorded some thing for my gaming channel as well.
Good. Yeah, I didn't do anything today. I just worked.
Just
pretty much.
Yeah, just work.
The week in general, you know, it's all been okay. I've just been, you know, doing stuff, working, get everything done. I still find time to play Mario Odyssey, and the game's still fun. The game is still fun. So, some interesting things did happen during this week, which is we're going to talk about during the discussion, I guess. So, yeah. But, I don't know. I guess, okay, we're just going to get started. I wanted to wait for a few people to come in, but I'll go over the outline first, and we'll obviously we'll start talking about the different topics. So as the title is, I have a big idea for the next Pokemon game. I will go into detail when that happens. No, I haven't told anyone, so, you know, just bear with me. However, if you pay attention to the thumbnail, you may have a hint. So just bear that in mind. Now, let's just kind of go over the outline so we have an idea of what we're going forward, we're actually, we're going to be discussing. And I will try and actually put timestamps for each topic after the discussion for people who come and watch this when it's archived after the fact to go to any particular topic they would like to see. If anyone does it for me, you're a champ, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so this is the outline. We're first going to talk a little bit about Xenoblade 2. A review has already come out from Famitsu. Then we're going to talk about some trademark updates. Then we're going to talk about the issue with Walt Disney pressuring EA to remove microtransactions from the Star Wars Battlefront 2. Then we're going to talk about the Game Awards and how there's going to be some game reveal announcements coming. And then we're going to talk about our Breath of the Wild DLC predictions, because we know they're coming, but when, right? And then we're going to get into the big Gamefreak rumor, which will lead into my big idea for the next Pokemon game. Anyways, just shout outs to everyone who's already in the chat. Sun Gohan, you were here early. Sup, Vooper, how you doing? Brandon, you're there too on your other channel. Interesting. Is that your brother or is that you?
No, that's actually me.
Okay.
I was doing stuff on the channel, so I forgot to switch back over. But
okay, that's fine. That's cool. All right, so yeah, we have a lot to talk about. So I guess let's just get started. So first off, the Famitsu Xenoblade 2 review. Yeah, there was a review from Famitsu. It got 3 9s and an 8, so 35 out of 40 overall. That's not terrible. It's not a bomb by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
However, it's not as good as Odyssey. But at the same time, Famitsu, I don't know. Famitsu to me is never really on point in terms of how good a game is. Like, for example, if we were to base how good Mario Odyssey was going to be in terms of Metacritic and game rankings, Famitsu would have actually been a little lower. If I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, I think it got like a 98 or 97
out
of 100. Or wait, they don't do 100. Whatever it is.
It's out of 40.
Whatever their equivalent.
They have 4 people who rate it from 1 to 10.
That's what it is. Yeah. They haven't. I think they put it at like 37 or 38.
Right.
So 30, 40.
I wouldn't put too much stock in the review, but all it really tells us that it hasn't bombed.
Yeah.
So I guess that's good news. It's good news. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about it in that respect. But I have heard a few new things, like Game Explain, previews already starting coming out. Game Explain have a Q&A about what's going on with the game. One thing that I noticed, actually, not that I noticed, that I heard, is that the text is actually not going to be incredibly minuscule like it was in Xenoblade X. And actually, I learned something.
Yeah.
I learned something new. Apparently, the Japanese version had even smaller text than the
It
American
did.
version for Xenoblade X.
By some unfathomable reason.
Yeah. So, but like the text size in Xenoblade X was really bad. It was really bad. Like, but we may have discussed this before. But like, I have good vision. I have like 20/20 vision, and I had trouble looking at the text in that game. So, good to know that at least the text is not going to be a problem in this game. I also heard another thing that some people may find enjoyable. So in Xenoblade and Xenoblade X, they have these like side quest missions, like affinity missions. They're called heart to hearts, where you can do different like missions that relate you more to all the different characters and tell you more about the different characters' backstories. Except in each of the games, when the actual like little, they're not really like fully animated cutscenes. It's usually they use the in-game engine for the heart to hearts. Like they're all just dialogue with text. There's no voiceover at all. In this game, apparently all the heart-to-hearts have voiceovers now, so voice acting will be in every aspect of the game, apparently, which is cool. And a lot of people have been wanting that,
really
so
cool.
That's an upwards trend in presentation for Nintendo games is also extending to Xenoblade. So,
Yeah.
pretty happy about that. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, anyways, things are seeming... Well, I guess we'll see overall, right? But I've been seeing commercials already, like on TV,
Oh, yeah.
like actual television, not just the internet, for Xenoblade, and... The game's not coming out until December, so it's just interesting to see that we're already getting commercials. So I guess Nintendo is pushing this game. I'm looking forward to it, of course. So yeah, do you have any? Is there anything else you've heard, Brandon?
I have heard that apparently the game will not be in 720p. Like it seems like there's a trend going on with Nintendo where they make games and they first show them off there in 720p and then they release them to like 900 to 1080p. Apparently the same thing's happening with Xenoblade.
Well, they're still working on the game, so
I think the thing is they're probably working to make it run best on handheld mode, which of course has a cap of 720p, and then they see what they can do with the the docked mode.
You see,
also, I wouldn't put too much
much
stock into what Famitsu says because they gave Xenoblade Chronicles 2 the same score as Sonic Forces, so I don't know you can trust any of their scores anymore.
Yeah. So,
their
but
scores are wonky.
To go back to what you were saying, though, I actually heard... Well, I'm blanking out here. What was I even talking about? We were talking about Xenoblade. But...
we're talking about the resolution, I think.
Right. Thank you. So, what I was saying was that apparently the resolution... Yeah, it's gotten better. But you were talking about how they may be focusing on trying to make the handheld version good. I don't think so, actually. So, what I've noticed with, like, Switch games, we have the Switch games that... they look really good in handheld mode, like Skyrim, Doom, Mario Kart, Breath of the Wild, right? But for whatever reason, when all those games go onto the big screen, they don't seem to look as good. Well, Mario Kart looks the same regardless. Breath of the Wild, after the updates, runs just as well in console mode. But at first it didn't. It didn't run as well in terms of frame rate. And now, with Doom and Skyrim, those games look better in handheld mode because of the smaller screen. It was actually they geared the game for handheld mode. They didn't really... It doesn't seem like they put too much effort into when it's docked. Now, if you look at Mario Odyssey, however, Mario Odyssey honestly looks way better than portable mode. Like, it's not just the resolution bump. There are more assets. The textures are better. There's anti-aliasing, or I'm not sure there's actually anti-aliasing, but I don't notice all the jaggies or pixels when it's actually in docked mode as opposed to portable mode. In portable mode, it's a noticeable downgrade. It's not just the resolution downscale, and I get that. I feel like that's happening. It's because Nintendo's actually developed Mario Odyssey ground up for the Switch, right? Not unlike Mario Kart, unlike Zelda, unlike Skyrim or Doom. All those games were ports, right? Mario Odyssey was not developed ground up for the Switch, and you could tell a visual difference between dock mode and handheld mode. And I think that's because they took advantage of the extra processing power, since when the Switch is docked, it uses more clock speed to actually do more when it's docked. So now that we're here, what you're saying about Xenoblade, that what I'm hearing actually, I just saw a game explain video where they were explaining how the game looks and runs. They were saying that there's actually a noticeable dip when it's in portable mode, which tells me, like Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade was developed ground up for the Switch, and they're taking advantage of the Switch when it's docked to really give it as much oomph as possible, But when it's in portable mode, there will be some downscale of resolution and assets and streaming of items, since it's an open world game. So that's what I'm seeing. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I think that's kind of going to be a trend as we move forward. That portable games, you're going to notice a bigger dip, at least when it comes to games developed exclusively for the Switch. When it comes to ports, like from the AAAs, you're going to see them gearing it towards the portable mode and everything running really well in portable mode. But when you put it on the television, you're going to notice that it doesn't look as good because they're not really developing for the docked version, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the difference may just be that they're focusing... Maybe they're putting less of a focus on handheld, because the handheld's just so new. When it first came out, they had to kind of focus on making sure it worked there. And now they have more time. Now that they know how to get it working in the handheld mode faster, they have more time to make sure that when it's docked, you can really see those benefits.
Yeah, so I don't think it's
learning how to use dock power.
Right. Mode. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily that they're not working. They're not trying to make it look good on portable mode. It's just that docked mode the Switch is a little bit more powerful, so it can do more. So that's what I think we're seeing. But yeah, so hopefully Xenoblade comes out and it's really, really good. I expect it to be, because it's being made by Monolith Soft, which is a really good developer, and they have Nintendo backing them, so I have no worries. So yeah. So I guess we're ready to move on to the next subject then. So let's talk about some trademark updates. Actually, Brandon, you had a video on your channel last week that you went into detail about this. But basically we got some picture trademark updates for Smash Brothers, Zelda, and Animal Crossing. I don't really see what the significance of this is, because Animal Crossing just came out, or sort of, right? And then Zelda already came out. Smash, however, hasn't, so maybe that could mean something for Smash Brothers. Maybe? What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, the weird thing is that these all seem to have corresponding elements to them, except the fact that they put out actually 2 for Zelda and 1 for Smash. So that's 1 more from Zelda than we were kind of expecting, and of course nothing on Smash for the Switch. So there could be something there, there could not be, it could just be nothing. It's really hard to say what the trademarks, why they trademarked them, what they're going to be in. It's really hard to say, because they didn't really give any details. They just kind of okay, here's the trademark. They didn't say anything much about it. So it's just kind of, at this point, it's just whatever you kind of want it to be. I mean, hopefully it's a new Smash game, and maybe a 2D Zelda game or a Zelda remake to go along with the DLC. A couple years later. I don't know. It could be literally. It could be nothing. It could be.
I think it's nothing.
The whole world.
I think
probably
it's nothing.
Yeah.
The only thing. We would have talked about it already if we thought it was something. Just saying.
Yeah, we would have. At this point, we just find it very weird and interesting.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: people who have paid attention to trademarks and copyrights that have been updated throughout the years, there's a trend. There's a trend where they don't. The trend is that there is no trend. So yeah. Maybe sometimes it can mean something, but a lot of times it doesn't. Because a few years ago, we got a whole Wave Race trademark update. That was a few years ago. Guess what? No Wave Race. So this could mean one of 2 things. One, they're just protecting their rights to their IP and such. Or it could mean that maybe there was potential plans to bring out a game, but for whatever reason, through the development process, it didn't make it all the way out of the pipeline. There's tons of games that are in the pipeline that never make it through. But I would say the safest thing that's going on here is that they're just updating the trademarks for safety reasons, so no one takes it. That's pretty much it.
That's most likely what it is for, especially since none of these seem to be new pictures. They just seem to be old pictures that we've already seen.
Right. Nothing. Yeah. Exactly. So it's not a big deal at all. So let's move forward, I guess. But before we do, actually, Sun Gohan said that. When going back to the whole Xenoblade talk about it looking better, not looking better in portable mode, actually looking better when docked, that they were able to do it on the Wii U with Xenoblade X. You could see the same game on the gamepad, albeit at a lower resolution, because technically the gamepad is a lower resolution. But same game. Except you're going to go 10 feet. That is true, because that's the Wii U. That's for sure.
Because the signal was terrible, and I literally have 2 couches, one on each side of my living room. I could only sit on the couch that was nearest to the Wii U. and the other one is only like 15 feet away.
My gamepad doesn't. The battery doesn't even work anymore. I have to have it constantly plugged in.
That happened to me too. Except the charger port also broke.
Yeah.
I literally just gave it to GameStop, and they were like, we could probably fix this game.
I've replaced the charger like 4 times throughout the Wii U's lifespan.
I had to do that too.
I never got a new battery though. I don't see the point of getting a battery
that
now.
was like $30-$40.
Yeah.
I feel like an idiot.
I just don't see the point of it now. My Wii U's not even plugged into my main television anymore. It's my Switch and my PS4 now. So
I had to sell mine in order to buy 2 Nintendo Switches. So I was too broke to buy 2 of them.
Oh, wow. I still have my Wii U plugged into the screen I have right here next to my computer, right, for when I stream, because like sometimes I'll stream like older games like Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Metroid Prime. So, but aside from like playing virtual console games, I'm not using my Wii U right now. So, that's what it is. But it's a great virtual console system. But that's not really what we're talking about today. So, let's move on. All right. So, this is actually a pretty interesting topic. So, I don't know if we're going to talk about that much, but we'll see. Anyways, Walt Disney has pressured EA to remove microtransactions from Star Wars Battlefront 2. So this is a big deal, actually, because this has been a big part of the conversation of what's been going on in the industry as of late. And, well, the fact that it was taken out of Battlefront 2, that says a lot. It says that Disney, has this fear that their consumer base is going to see this and be like, hey, this is not fair for kids who really like Star Wars. They don't like the business strategy, and since they're working with EA on Star Wars Battlefront, they were not okay with this. So EA, last minute, stripped it from the game, and they probably were really depending on microtransactions to make a killing, and now they won't. There's been some controversy. We're not even sure how well the game's going to sell. It's up in the air right now, I think, as to how successful it's ultimately going to be.
I think we have some sale numbers from the UK, but not from everywhere.
Yeah, but that's a small sample size. What are the sales numbers, though?
Apparently, it didn't even hit #1 at all in the UK. It was at, like, #3.
Okay.
That week. So,
behind what, do you know?
Not good. Call of Duty and something else, I forget.
Mario Odyssey? Actually, no,
Probably.
I think maybe, but also Europe is not Nintendo's strong point.
No, it's not.
No, it's like the worst place for Nintendo. It's always been like that, actually. Even during like the 90s and 80s, like Nintendo was never good in Europe ever. So
Europe just has bad taste. Just kidding.
Hey, dude, that is a lot of people. That is a lot of people.
I'm sorry, a lot of people, but I disagree with you. So,
of course, the people who actually like Nintendo are going to be watching this, so they won't disagree with you, even if they are.
Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, actually, Son Gohan said it was Forza. I don't know if he was.
Was it?
I think that's what he's saying. Yeah.
That would make sense, actually.
Yeah, it would. So, yeah. But anyways, what do you think about this? What do you think? Do you think this is a good move overall for the industry? That other partnerships like Walt Disney are saying, hey, no, this is not going to fly. Is it going to push other companies away from doing microtransactions, or is this just, a hiccup on the road? What's going on here? What do you think?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Also, I believe, like, Disney isn't just like, oh, I'm amazing, I'm looking out for the consumers. No, I think the only reason they took them out was because the backlash.
Right. They didn't think their consumers would like it.
Yeah. It's not like Disney's over here like, oh, we're the best, most pro-consumer.
Right,
no.
But they want you to think that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. This move is them trying to save themselves.
Yeah.
Essentially. But yeah, as far as just what I think of the whole debacle, it's just annoying. Apparently they've estimated out in order to 100% get everything in the game, you have to spend roughly like 4,500 hours. Unless you spend money on loot crates.
That's crazy, man. Like, why?
It's insane. It's insane. It's not fair.
So here's the thing, though. As we're like core gamers who have predominantly played on Nintendo systems, right? Mm-hmm. When we hear and see the pay-to-win strategy, we don't like it. But I've spoken with other people, and they think it's great. There are some people who love the idea that they can pay to win. So, I'm of the frame of mind where, see, I'm like pretty hardcore. Like, if someone's like paying to win, I think, okay, that's a challenge. I will outplay them regardless, right? Mm-hmm. But still, there are tons of people who probably Or like, what the hell? These people are just buying everything they can to make themselves better. I don't like that. But, you know, capitalism is potentially an argument, you could say. I'm not sure. I think if I were to make a game, I wouldn't have that in it, right? That's how I wouldn't do it that way. In fact, when it comes to like upgrades and such, I don't even like the idea that the more you progress with an online competitive game, that people who are just starting are at a disadvantage in terms of resources, you know? In terms of experience is one thing, but actual resources, not a fan of that at all. Which is what I kind of like about Splatoon, because even your beginning set can be competitive with the final set you can unlock after you've done everything. So it's kind of a difference of game design here. I'm not sure how most people feel, but personally, you know, I don't even like the idea that within the game that if you're playing an online competitive game that you're going to get sets that are just straight up better. It's one thing to have different strategies that could appeal to different skill sets, but something that's just straight up better and blatantly better, I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, I'm not. It's just I just have an issue with the whole game being designed that way as a whole, right? But when you do design a game that way, microtransactions do become a problem. However, let's say a game was developed like Splatoon, where no matter what set you get, it doesn't really matter in terms of skill level, it's just a different style. Then maybe you could have microtransactions, right? Where it's not pay to win, it's just inviting people to buy more stuff. Maybe. But there's a lot of different things you have to handle there. Like, there's just so much, because you also take into consideration how the metagame is, right? Because you don't want to incorporate different items and such that could affect, because you don't want to allow pay to win, right? So yeah, there's a lot to go into that. But I guess what I'm saying here, right, is that there are some developers that care about the metagame, that want it to be fair for people. But then you look at this whole pay to win strategy that was going to be employed with Battlefront 2. You know, EA, man, come on, like, us gamers are not liking what EA's doing right now. So I'm glad Walt Disney forced them to pull the plug. It doesn't mean there's not any content. You can still unlock all the content. Just it takes a while.
Yeah, my problem isn't even fully the fact that somebody can pay to be better than you. My problem is the fact that it takes so long to unlock things if you're playing normally. Like, I don't mind putting in the time to play a game, as long as the time isn't 4,500 hours. There's never been a game I've spent that much time on in my entire life. Never.
Maybe Pokemon. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, shout out to Tasumi Kimishima. He's trying to win a custom Iwata amiibo, so we need to throw him our positive vibes. He needs it.
Positive vibes going right to the camera.
Yeah. Win the custom Iwata amiibo. It'll be a perfect homage. You deserve it, because you are his successor.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But I do hate it when I get into a game. I can understand why you would like it if you have it, like if you got into the game late, and everyone's better than you because they've been playing for a while, and you just want to be on par with everyone else. So maybe you pay for a few microtransactions and get up to the level of everyone else, because you don't want to be getting destroyed every 5 seconds because I didn't get the game when it launched. That I can understand. But to pay to be like 1,000,000 times better than everyone and just go out and start destroying people is just, no, just don't do it.
Yeah. Well, I think we're in agreement that it's a problem, and we're glad that Walt Disney forced them to change it. Now, I hope I played the previous Battlefront, and I enjoyed it, so I hope that this one does well. Right? I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I just think it's one of those games.
I played the beta for Battlefront 2. Yeah. It played amazingly. It looked amazing. It played amazing. It was awesome. It was way better than the original Battlefront in every way. And then they started introducing these microtransactions, and it's just like, you just ruined everything that you just made. Like, it was so good, and then they were like, oh, yeah, well, actually, you can't ever unlock anything for, like, forever, and all these people are going to pay, and they're going to be way better than you, and so, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, you had a great game. It would have sold really well, but then you just ruined it all.
So then here's my question, right? So since they take out the microtransactions, Do you still have to put in like 4,500 hours to get all the content that was there?
As far as I know, yeah. The only thing they changed is now you don't have the option to pay to get it. As far as I know, that's the only thing they changed. Also, they said they might add it in back later. There's always the possibility that they'll put it back in.
Right,
after
they probably have to kind of change the way the game functions, right? Maybe like as I was trying to explain earlier, how maybe Walt Disney's not really going to support a pay-to-win strategy. So maybe that's what it is. But do we know for sure that's why they took it out? Maybe it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with pay-to-win, but more just along the lines of there being microtransactions and perhaps being done in a way that could encourage younger kids to, exploit their parents' credit cards, right? Because that's another thing.
I think that is a problem. I don't think it's the main problem. I don't think it's the main issue that people are mad about. That doesn't seem to be the main outcry. That is a problem. And there definitely needs to be some kind of safety features set in place for that kind of stuff. Maybe there should be a limit on how much you can spend at one time. Yeah, that would be smart. Yeah, but I don't even think that's the biggest outcry. I think the biggest outcry is the people are paying a $60 game, and then they're being asked to pay hundreds of dollars more in microtransactions to actually play the game they just bought for $60. I think that's the biggest issue. It just seems greedy, especially since the original Battlefront sold, I think, 14, 15 million copies, and this one looked like it was going to be even better than the first one. So it's not like they're worried about not getting sales. They're EA. Their games are going to sell if they're good.
But they want to sell more. I mean, it's that simple. They want to make more money.
They do,
right? So I guess
it's not like EA's over there oh, we're financially broke. They're just we just want to steal more money from you. So
I guess to conclude here, it looks like, the whole Walt Disney pressuring EA to remove these microtransactions has more to do with probably the pay-to-win strategy, or at least it was some sort of means to lower the negative talk about the game so far, right? So it could potentially sell better, because a lot of this negative talk could impact it poorly, right? So hopefully now that it's been removed, maybe that will help things out a little bit. We'll see what happens in the long run, of course, but I hope the game does well. Maybe I'll pick it up.
I just got some breaking news about the game, actually. I was checking Twitter.
Canceled.
Canceled. It's completely canceled.
Even though it's been shipped.
Apparently, they lowered the amount of time it takes to unlock some stuff in the game, but not all of it.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean,
there is some stuff that doesn't take as long.
Okay, that's
fine. They just changed it, so all right. It is a little bit better than before, but
that's something I could find agreeable, for sure. Yeah, cool. What's up, Black Star dude? All right, just in time, because now we're gonna move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
The Game Awards are coming soon, and there's going to be a number of game reveals and announcements. Now, I have no idea what there could be except for one, and that is Breath of the Wild DLC. Finally, a trailer for the final installment to the Breath of the Wild DLC. The story trailer, the Ballad of Champions. So I'm looking forward to a trailer of that. I think that's what we could expect. Maybe something else from Nintendo. I think I heard there's supposed to be something else from Nintendo. So maybe that. Anyways, I just think that seeing a Breath of the Wild trailer at the Game Awards for the final DLC would be very suiting, especially since we kind of got to see the first epic trailer for Breath of the Wild at the Game Awards. We've seen it multiple times at the Game Awards. Breath of the Wild is probably going to be the game of the year. If not, it may lose to Mario Odyssey. I hope not, but it may. Right? I just think it would be a good story, a good narrative for Breath of the Wild, which has been always throughout the last few years in the Game Awards, to get Game of the Year, to show off this story trailer, for it to be awesome, and for it to just ride off into the Christmas sunset, and just it being a great, just how it would be a great send off for this game, a great way to celebrate how great this game is. So I'm excited for that possibility. This is not confirmed. Do not take this as confirmation. We do not know when we will see the Breath of the Wild DLC. It's just something a lot of us have been speculating. I think it's probably the best time to show it. It makes sense to me. I think that's what Nintendo would be aiming for, but it's hard to say for sure. But yeah, Brandon, do you have any other ideas about its release date before we get into, I guess, specific content predictions for the DLC?
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, it's coming out this year. They just released Breath of the Wild. Actually, I forget what it. There was some other Game Awards thing in UK where it won Game of the Year, and I think Aonuma confirmed that it was coming out this year.
Yes,
somebody who's working on the game specifically said it's coming out this year. So, unlike what we previously thought, like a couple weeks ago, that it might be delayed till 2018, it's not being delayed. It's coming out this year. So I'd have to assume it's coming out in between Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Christmas, sometime in that gap. It has to be. I'm thinking. I guess I'd have to see a calendar. I think they probably release it on like a Friday or something. So maybe a Friday in between that time is when they would.
What's the exact date for the Game Awards? Do you know?
December 7th, I think.
December 7th. Oh, that's my father's birthday.
Cool.
7th is a Thursday. So, yeah, actually the night...
They might release it the next day.
The night, December 7th, the midnight, that's when it's released, like just a couple hours after it's shown off at the Game Awards. It goes live. That would be great. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. That'd be a good time to do it. Yeah, I can see that happening for sure, actually. So,
oh, yeah. I just confirmed it is December 7th. So,
cool.
But yeah, that'd be very interesting if they showed it off and it released the next day. I think that would be super cool. Like, I'd be down for that, for sure. I mean, it'd be a little close to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because that game is just going to engulf my entire life. But I could stop for a little bit to play some Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, for sure.
Get that DLC trailer in there.
Yeah. Yeah, so then let's talk about what this DLC trailer may include. What's it going to show us? What's it going to suggest? I've talked about it before, but I think there's something... We've heard that it's going to be taking place as like an epilogue to the game, right? And if you have played through Breath of the Wild, you've seen like the final ending, if you have, gone all of the story scenes, all of the flashbacks, you will see that extended ending. It just kind of shows Link and Zelda going off into the hills. And the thing is, they talk about rebuilding Hyrule. So...
Yes.
There's a Terry Town side quest where you literally help to build a new town. And Breath of the Wild is filled with ruins, and many people have sort of complained or argued that, hey, we didn't really get to see Hyrule. Like, we wanted to see the towns. We wanted to see Castle Town. Like, we didn't get to see a lot of things that we thought that could have been there. All of it was in ruins. So what if the game has something to do with rebuilding Hyrule and actually, fixing up a lot of these ruins? What if by the end of the Breath of the Wild DLC we can see a completely rebuilt Castle Town? How cool would that be? It'd be great, and it'd be a great way to just throw in tons of side quests. I love the idea of this, and I think there's a decent chance that this could happen, but only when I say decent, I mean like 30% chance or something, because like that's a lot of content to add. Think about all the ruins in Breath of the Wild, and that does not include a dungeon, right? They were all hoping it's like a classic style of dungeon, which I think we are going to get. I think the dungeon we're going to get is going to be a little bit more extensive than the four Divine Beasts. It's going to be more extensive than those four. How much so? I don't know. It still may be in the Divine Beast style too, right? So that's hard to say as well. But all I feel confident in saying is that it's going to be bigger than the four Divine Beasts by at least a little bit.
Yeah.
So here's a question, right? How much content do you think they're actually going to add to the game? Now, when we take into consideration that all of the assets have been built, the engine has been made, it's not going to be that hard for them to create extra content. But can they really create that much content in the span of, like, say, 6 months? Because that says about 6-8 months is like the development time for this DLC, right? At most 10 months or almost a year. Like I don't think they would have as large of a team working on just creating this DLC quest.
Yeah, they might have. I think they could have been that when they made most of Breath of the Wild and they were kind of in the finishing technical touches, that some of the higher ups who don't really work on that kind of technical stuff maybe started working on the DLC. So it could have been a little bit longer, like a little bit before it was released. But obviously, it's been a decent amount of time has been working on this game. So And I mean, they didn't even, they had people who literally didn't even show up to accept like the rewards and stuff, or to even say like thanks for Breath of the Wild, but getting Game of the Year, because they were too busy working on the DLC still. So obviously they're putting a lot of effort into it.
Right. So I hope. Here's the thing. Like we know with Skyrim and The Witcher, those games have had, which are not exactly the same, but they're a similar style, similar audience. Those games have DLC that's pretty big, right? Pretty extensive. You could add an additional 30, 40 hours to the game at least. So I hope that Breath of the Wild is doing something similar in the sense that we're getting, you know, something extensive here. We'll see though, right? It's hard to say for sure. But I think it is doable, considering that they already have the engine built. All they have to do is add content, right?
And I think they already have the models for an undestroyed castle town, don't they? I think
they had a cutscene for it with it. They had a cutscene with it.
So they have to have the models.
Right, and all of their cutscenes are using the in-game engine. So yeah,
they're all actually modeled, like fully modeled cutscenes.
Right. So then maybe they could just build. They could just rebuild Castle Town, but it's also and not all the rest of the ruins that are all throughout Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it was that, if it was, I feel like it's gonna be Castle Town and some other things as well. Because if it was just Castle Town, why would it have taken this long to make?
Well, Castle Town would be pretty big, though.
Yeah, but I mean, they already have most of the models.
Maybe not literally all of the ruins, but a lot of the ruins. You know what I mean?
I think there will be some extra towns that you build. I think it'll be some
like maybe rebuild the farm, Lon Ranch.
Yeah, assuming this whole rebuilding thing is even what's happening. It could be something completely different.
Do you have any other predictions? I think the rebuilding of the ruins could be those extra challenges they referenced.
Yeah. I don't. There could be different things that they find as they rebuild it, or there could be different things that trying to stop the rebuilding process, and maybe there are some extra challenges that way. There could even be things where like monsters are trying to destroy the village, and you have to protect the village that's being built. I don't know. There's a lot of different things that could happen, but aside from aside from rebuilding things, I don't know what they would.
Do you think there'll be any interactions with Princess Zelda?
Yes, I think that.
I think so as well, and this is why. Because the thing is, there seemed to be such a strong emphasis on Zelda, but we only saw her in a few flashbacks and the end of the game. You know, we didn't see her at all at any other point. And like they went through all the trouble of creating all this art for her, these character models. And there's like this huge narrative about her that maybe I would like there to be more, right? And then since we're on the subject though, I also feel like the stories for the champions, as it is called the Champions Ballad, right? Their stories were never very well told. Like Zelda's was for the most part okay, but I felt like there's still a lot to be said about the 4 different champions that, you know, spoiler alert, died, right? So I feel like it's very easy to just add more flashbacks into the game as well.
Oh yeah, I definitely think there will be a lot more. I think there will be a couple more memories to go along with it. How many? I don't know. Probably not as many as there could be as many as in the full game. I mean, it doesn't. How hard is it to make those? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, you don't have to animate them, but I mean, they're using assets already in the world. It's not too. I don't expect it to be too.
I don't expect them to literally double the flashbacks, but maybe add like maybe 2 for each character, including Zelda. So you have to add.
I think there would be a couple. I mean, I think there's the potential that there could be almost as many flashbacks, because they're not that hard to make, because they're not like CGI or anything, which are super hard to make. They're just in-game cutscenes. They're not that difficult, and they've had a lot of time to work on these. So I think there's the potential there could be a lot of them, but I don't think that there will be.
Right. So
I think there will be a couple.
So here's my question. Here's a question to you, right? So, what do you think? How do you think we will handle the dungeon? Like, what do you think will lead to this dungeon? Will it just be a divine beast that sort of, like, you know, parades into Hyrule, right? Like some sort of divine dragon beast, right? That's just like, that just comes in from northern Hyrule and destroys everything in the north, and you're just like, okay, we gotta do something about this, right? Or is it something else? Maybe there's something related to like a vestige of Calamity Ganon that's like has seeped into the world. Maybe.
Yeah, it's very. I don't know. I hope it's not a divine beast one, because they're good, but they're not as good as a traditional Zelda dungeon is, I feel.
Hold on.
Like,
I just got something. Son Gohan had a completely original, never thought of idea.
Never.
So he said this is what he's suggesting. Okay, so maybe Ganon kidnaps Zelda and invites everyone to the forced wedding, and now Link has to save the day by stopping the wedding.
Gosh,
I've never heard of that before. Like,
never heard of a plot like that. It's completely original.
It's just like, yeah, it's just, man,
mind blown, man. How could you be that creative?
Such a quirky idea. Like, I like it. But not for Zelda. It would be better if it was something like Mario, you know?
Yeah, I think it would fit Mario a bit better.
Yeah, Ganon just... No, I don't like that at all, actually. No, not for Zelda. No. But, it's a good idea, though, Son Gohan. It's a good one. So...
It's very good.
Yeah. So... Oh, Vooper had an even better idea.
Oh my gosh.
The entire DLC is just going to be a remake of Wand of Gamelon.
Please no.
Is Wand of Gamelon the one that's centered around Zelda?
I think so.
Maybe. So I'm gonna kind of conclude my thoughts on what these are my full-on predictions for the DLC, right? Brandon, you can add to it or have your own predictions afterwards. So this is what I think / hope is going to happen, right? There will be some sort of implementation with the rebuilding towns. We're going to see, like, a lot of the ruins rebuilt. Perhaps even Castletown, especially since we saw, like, a cutscene of it in the game. We're going to get a few more flashbacks, especially ones about the heroes that have fallen. It is called the Champion's Ballad. There's going to be at least one dungeon, probably only one dungeon. I think it's probably going to be another Divine Beast somehow, but it's going to be a bit larger, maybe a little bit more involved with the environment. And I think that's going to basically be what's going on here. As for the evil or the, there's got to be some sort of tension, right? I think that it'll probably be some sort of vestige of Calamity Ganon, right? And yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. Like, we have to find a way to completely seal him because he's not entirely sealed. And I do think there's going to be more interactions with Zelda this time around. How exactly, I'm not sure. Maybe it's just through flashbacks. But I think there'll be some more current cutscenes as well. It'd be great if they sort of incorporated a mechanic to, like, protect Zelda throughout the DLC quest. But we'll see how that works. So that's kind of what I'm thinking might happen for the DLC. The Champion's Ballad, but we'll see. Brandon, do you have anything to add or no?
Okay, crazy idea.
Okay.
Maybe this... Going off of your kind of vestige of Calamity Ganon being sealed away, maybe you need the champions alive again in order to have the power to seal it. I know this crazy idea. I just thought of it, and it was probably not going to happen, but go with me on this. So you have to go and you have to find a way to resurrect all of the champions, and then you can go seal it away. I don't think that's going to happen.
So
I think that's entirely...
I've totally thought about that too, don't get me wrong. But here's my problem with it in terms of a story perspective, okay? Most of the characters that have died, the people that were around them, right, have been dead for over 100 years. They all have passed away already,
Yeah.
Now, the only one that it would almost be okay with is Mipha, right? Because they all have much longer lifespans. So Mipha's the only one where it would be, okay, Mipha's back, yay! Which, ironically, is the one that everyone seems to be the most sorrowful about, right? Because the people who were living with her and loving her when she was alive are still around, because the Zoras have much longer lifespans. But I think that's just meant to be a tragedy. But who knows, maybe I'm wrong, maybe Nintendo's just like, nope, you can bring them back.
Yeah, but they're back to life. Yeah, I don't think that's happened. I just thought it was a crazy idea, and I was like, kind of just pondering the thoughts of it.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree that it's probably going to be some rebuilding things, especially with the way they word things at the end of the extended cutscene.
Rebuild, that's
what they're doing. They're
Hyrule.
Rebuilding Hyrule. That's their entire quest after the game ends. So obviously that's probably what you're going to be doing in the side quest.
Yes, exactly. Especially since we already know the DLC is going to have something to do with an epilogue.
As far as whether it will be some kind of form of Calamity Ganon that didn't get sealed away, or maybe he has... Here's a thought. Maybe he made his own sort of divine beast-like creation sent to.
Oh, I know what it is.
If he ever falls,
I know what it is.
If he ever falls, then he'll come back. It will come back to life.
Maybe the divine beast is the enemy. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he made this kind of divine beast that would come if he ever lost. It would come and try to destroy everything.
So I'm gonna throw a few ideas out there for you. Okay, so I forgot their name. It's been a while, but the other Sheikah, or not the Sheikah, the people who follow Calamity Ganon.
Oh,
I forgot their name. The people in the red clothes, they pretend to be normal people and then they transform.
Gosh, I usually know this. I just
it's slipping in my mind right now. But those people, then you even fight their big boss, and he says, "I will return." If you guys watch any of my anime reviews, I always talk about if something is said.
The Yiga, that's what it is. Thanks, Vooper.
The who?
The
Yiga, yeah, right. Yes, thank you guys.
Oh, you call them the Yiga? I call them the
Yiga, Hylia, Helia, but
potato.
Right, tomato. So the leader of the Yiga clan, he literally says, "I will return," or something. I'm paraphrasing here, but he makes it's insinuated that he wants to get revenge against you, right? So. And like I was saying, if you watch my anime reviews, I always harp on, if something is said at one point, it's foreshadowing. That's the way storytelling is done. So if you bring up something and never, ever, answer that or show what that conversation was going to lead to, that's bad storytelling. So I think there could be something related to the Yiga clan. Maybe they somehow unearth the 5th divine beast to get revenge on Link for defeating Calamity Ganon, right? And this 5th divine beast is corrupted, and it could be terrorizing Hyrule. That's something that could work. It could function like a final dungeon, maybe something along those lines. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty interesting for sure. Yeah, I think that could work.
I don't. The one problem I have with that is the Yiga clan boss is like one of those you think he's gonna be awesome, and then he's just like stupid, and it's supposed to be hilarious. So,
well, yeah, he's silly, but I don't mean him as being the endgame boss, right? But just in terms of them having some sort of evil plan, right? And it goes awry. They unearth some sort of ancient evil, right? Some sort of ancient life or something, right? And they don't have control of it anymore. The Yiga clan's not the end enemy here, but they're just they're like the inciting incident. They cause a chain reaction, so
that would work. I think.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like how like Team Rocket's like they're never really the main bad guy, but they could cause a chain of events in Pokemon that leads to some really really sour things. You know what I mean? Like a really strong legendary Pokemon that they have to deal with, something like that. So. I think we're done with the Zelda stuff. If you guys have, what are you guys saying here? Some go on saying, could it be possible to take away the helmets from the different beasts and create a huge Ultra Beast, like Power Rangers? Cool. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I could see that.
That could work.
Yeah, for sure.
I still like the idea of a giant dragon, though.
Yeah, a giant dragon divine beast. I would love that. And just see it kind of come down from northern Hyrule, because you can see all this land in northern Hyrule, and you're just like, what is over there? What if a giant, like, divine dragon beast? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. And maybe that could somehow tie in the three guardian dragons, Nadra, Dinral, and Feroth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Maybe. Or maybe they can get corrupted and you have to fight them as, like, bosses.
Yeah, like the...
There's tons of ideas here, actually. There's so many different directions we could go with this. But I think it's time to move towards the final topic here. It's going to be the biggest topic, so we've already talked a lot about Zelda, so let's try to...
As we always do anytime Zelda's brought up.
So, we're going to talk about Pokemon. Pokemon for Switch, not Ultra Sun and Moon. I actually haven't even played Ultra Sun and Moon yet. I plan on getting it in a few days. I just haven't gotten around to it, So... Yeah, we're going to get into Pokemon Switch, though. So there's this rumor that came out about Gamefreak. So I'm just going to read what basically what was said. So there was an Easy Allies podcast. They have some inside sources, right? And you can Google Easy Allies podcast. You'll find it. Anyways, the podcast revealed that Gamefreak is looking to do something, quote, disruptive with the franchise due to the success of both Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Super Mario Odyssey. So they're looking at the success of these games and seeing how they changed. They kind of reassessed the fundamentals of each game, changed things around, were disruptive to their formulas, but ultimately still kept the essence of those games. And they both are on pace to be the best-selling, or one of the best versions of each of their franchises. So, Pokemon Game Freak, that's what this rumor is suggesting here. Now, I have a lot of different things to say or think about this, but Brandon, what are your initial impressions from this rumor?
Yeah, it's very exciting if this is true, because the one fear I have for Pokemon the Switch is it's just going to be more Pokemon that we've already seen, and it's not going to do anything, and it's just going to be kind of like, Pokemon Ultimate Sun and Moon or something, like that. Like something that wouldn't be exciting, or like something that wouldn't take, it wouldn't use the fact that it's the first HD console Pokemon to its advantage. Something that would just kind of drop the ball and just kind of stay in the same vein. So seeing that it could be as big of a change as like something from Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey is super exciting, because Pokemon is a really good franchise, but there's so much more they could do with the series that they just haven't been able to do due to hardware constraints, or just a lack of wanting to break the mold, because maybe they're afraid that it won't do as well, or it won't be accepted as well.
So, there is so much potential for the Pokemon franchise. Fans have been clamoring and crying and whining and begging for a Pokemon MMO or a console Pokemon for years.
So many
years. Like, since the beginning of the internet, right? So, it's,
It's red and blue.
Yeah, so, exactly. So, I'm curious what they're gonna do, but here's the thing, okay? Whatever is supposedly happening, I can't imagine it being as disruptive as Breath of the Wild, or like a whole open world like Pokemon kind of game, for a few different reasons. One, historically speaking, Game Freak has never made that significant of a jump. Now, I'm not saying Game Freak won't make a significant jump, but we know that they're trying to get Pokemon to come out next year. Now, maybe those plans change, and that's why we're hearing this rumor now, right? But if they're going to have such a huge jump for Pokemon, then that may mean we won't be seeing Pokemon next year. But here's what things are weirder. We've already gotten the report that Nintendo is upping their shipments to like 30 million for next fiscal year, something like that, right?
25 to 30 million, yeah, 25 to 30 million. 25
to 30 million next year. That's
absolutely mind-blowing.
It's an incredible amount, and the only game in Nintendo's repertoire, I mean, it's like the only they could really satiate that like huge influx of systems is Pokemon. So I'm not sure how this is going to work out. I would love for the Pokemon to be a huge like new big jump, but we just got Ultra Sun and Moon. We just got Sun and Moon before that. Like, it's a yearly updates. Now, I do know that, or apparently that the veteran team has been working on the Pokemon Switch for a while already, and that it's just their younger guys that were working on Ultra Sun and Moon. So, they've been working on this game for a while. I know that. So, but the other weird thing about this is that the way it's worded, it makes me think that, okay, are they saying that they decided to shift gears in the middle of development once they saw, it's like, oh my god, Zelda's selling so well. Oh my god, Mario Odyssey just came out. So the idea that they just decided right now to shift gears, at least sometime this year, to shift gears and start making things more epic and grandiose, that could mean, that we won't be seeing Pokemon for a while on the Switch. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. But this is a rumor, and when sources are being dispersed, you never know exactly how things are said, but maybe there's some truth to this. What if they already had plans to make things big? What if they knew that Nintendo was already doing big things with Zelda and Mario behind the scenes, So they're just kind of reassessing things from that point of view, and they've actually been going in this direction for a couple of years already. If it's like that, where they're just kind of where they're just basically saying, hey, look, we are going to be disruptive to the Pokemon formula just the same way Breath of the Wild and Mario were, okay, then that's something that I could see believable, that sort of fits the bill with all the stock, all the shipments coming out next year, with the targeted date of Pokemon 2018 next year. That is possible. So basically what I'm saying is, this rumor that we're hearing, I don't think is entirely true. Not, perhaps a partial truth. So hopefully that's the case. I'm kind of like seeing it from the most optimistic perspective, that Pokemon's coming out next year and it's going to be big and huge and awesome. But it's also possible that it will come out next year, but it's just going to be a minor upgrade from Ultra Sun and Moon. And then the other option is that it's just not coming out next year. So hopefully it's, you know, the former, the first one I said, that they have been working on making this a big transition for a while already, and it will make it out by holiday 2018. What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, well, I have another option that could happen, and that could be that they were planning on making it a lot different than the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon for the Switch already, but not to the same degree that maybe they are now. Maybe they had some big jumps that were going to happen, but not quite to the degree of, say, Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, and they decided to make it even better than what they were going to. That could definitely be something that happened. Maybe they were taking some steps, but not all the steps at once, so there could still be time. Say, you know, if they saw Breath of the Wild when it was still in development, they could have done that. Because it doesn't have to be either they're being completely disrupted or they're doing the exact same thing. There definitely could be an in-between there that they were planning on, and now they're just going further than what they were initially planning. So, I mean, there's not just two options there with, you know, normal Pokemon and completely disruptive. There's obviously some middle area there that they could have been in. That makes it easier for them to still get it out next year while changing some more things. So I think that's definitely a possibility that they could have done that.
Yeah. So for sure, I just noticed that I had the chat box and it wasn't actually updating on the stream. So whatever, that's not a big deal. But yeah, I just think that I hope we get Pokemon next year. But at the same time, though, I want to point out that like I said earlier, I didn't get Ultra Sun and Moon yet for a few different reasons. One, I'm just not ready to get it yet. There's so many other games I have to play, and you know, I have a budget, right? But also, I haven't been as excited for Pokemon this year because it just has a little bit more content than last year. It's basically the same game, so you know, I'm not that excited about it. I'm pretty done with the 3DS. I'm ready for a big jump, an actual serious change to the formula, and I want something huge, you know? Yeah. So I haven't been as excited, so I really hope that whatever it is next year, even if it's not as like a huge like open world Pokemon, I'm not asking for a huge open world Pokemon, but I am asking for, you know, a significant upgrade over what we got for Sun and Moon. A significant upgrade, because I don't want it to... Here's the thing. If it's anything like the jump from Gen 6 to 7, or even 5 to 6, I'm going to be disappointed. I want this to be the biggest jump Pokemon has ever made. How much of a jump that will be, I don't know, but it better be the biggest jump they've ever made, because this is the biggest jump in technology they have ever made.
By far.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to have the largest budget they've ever had on this game as well. So, whatever it is, I'm expecting this to be the biggest Pokemon game yet. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I also noticed that Brandon, you pointed out that it's already been confirmed that this is a mainline Pokemon RPG. Yes, the next iteration for mainline Pokemon is coming out on the Switch. That is confirmed already. So, well, Kimishima, I hear what you're saying. That Kimishima's saying that he actually doesn't like some of the new ones. He prefers the original ones. I'm like you, Brandon. I like both of them. However, this kind of goes into my big idea, right? I suggested beforehand that I would like there to be. Actually, are we ready for my big idea? Are we ready for that? For me to describe what I think would be the best idea for the future of Pokemon? And yeah, I mean like reasonable expectations here. I'm not talking about like, you know, a beautiful MMO or something like that. I mean like something that's realistic to expect, but it could be the best direction for Pokemon to take.
Yeah, I think we're ready for that. I think we can go into that.
Okay, so first off, I do think I think all the new ones should be appreciated, and I think the next version they shouldn't even be focusing on creating new Pokemon. Maybe have a few new forms, a few new Mega Evolutions, a few new regional variants. But aside from that, I don't think they should add too much new Pokemon. I think they should go back to the Kanto region, maybe expand it to Kanto and Johto since they're interconnected, right? Maybe in the future there could be DLC, or they could have some islands around, like the Savvy Islands, the Orange Islands, or something like that. But ultimately focus on the Kanto and Johto region. And the world, if you look at how they moved from Gen 6 to 7, things became more open in terms of exploration. I want it to become even more open. Maybe not entirely open world, but sandboxy at least. Okay? But more than that.
Yeah.
I think that the battle systems should become a lot more like the stadium style, right? A little bit more grandiose, because I at least have a stadium-like mode in the game. This is why. This is the first Pokemon game that's going to be on a home console. Home consoles, what do? They support local multiplayer. What does that mean? Something like Stadium is more suited for local multiplayer. So I think they're going to have to incorporate some sort of Stadium mode where you can play with 2 people on the Switch with Pokemon. So how would they do that? Enable a rentals mode. You know, a rentals mode where you could literally go into a Stadium mode and just battle Pokemon like that. Maybe even incorporate a minigame compilation section. Right? Maybe this is like a separate menu, and as you progress through the game, more stadiums, more rentals become available. You know, maybe you can create the rentals. You know, you're literally catching and training Pokemon. Maybe you can do that, right? But also, maybe they can unlock stages and more minigames as you progress through the game. So I think that's what we could be looking at, right? And in terms of online features, this would be the most extensive since it's a home console. You know, it has more capabilities, the interconnectivity, the constant communication and trading. There could even be sections where you're literally actually, you know, there's actual, like, you know, you're traveling or moving around or just battling other players. But also, this is the part that I think is really interesting. If you guys paid attention to my thumbnail, right? There's like, you know, it's just a Pokemon on a television screen and like a moveset on the gamepad as they're putting it into a dock. Now that's a still taken from the initial Nintendo Switch trailer. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Did you notice that, Brandon?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm actually going to go look at it right now.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at, right, is that Pokemon has a big competitive scene, right? So imagine, if you guys have ever seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something, how they have the dual discs. Now, I'm not saying Pokemon's gonna have dual discs, but I am saying you take your Switch around, right? So when it comes to tournaments, you actually go in and you have your Pokemon there, but you put it into the dock and everything is set up to the bigger screen, and that'll really facilitate a very strong, like, tournament structure. So the Switch could be better suited for tournaments than the 3DS or the DS. And it'll be perfect because you could literally situate actual televisions and docks, so you could literally plug them in whenever you're competing against other people, and there you go, right? So if you couple this style for tournaments, right, and the stadium-like mode, because they do have to incorporate some sort of local multiplayer problem. They don't have to, but they should. Stronger online functionality and a more open, sandboxy kind of world. Not entirely open world like Breath of the Wild, but all of that. Focusing on the original regions, but you can expand and collect other Pokemon, all of Pokemon in the Pokedex. That is still possible, but focus on, you know, the original 251, actually. So I think that could be a great package for Pokemon. I think that's what we could be seeing. I think that'll be huge, and it would just probably be the best-selling Pokemon game ever, because it's going to be a legitimate console Pokemon game. And considering that Gamefreak will be going to the console era, right? Actually using the original Pokemon, which would appeal to a larger audience, would be a great idea. So that's sort of along the lines of what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts, Brandon?
Yeah, I think that would definitely work. Just having I think it definitely needs some kind of open world element to it. I think there's been a lot of people who have been asking for it to be more open world. Maybe you can go to the gyms in kind of any order you want. Kind of thing. I think people have been asking for that for a while because, I mean, it just makes sense. Like, why would you not be able to go to any gym at any time? It wouldn't be that hard to do it, especially if you just scale the difficulty. Like, just when you go to the first one, you know the difficulty level is normal, but then if you go to a different one, it obviously scales as you've done more. So instead of having, you know, obvious, like the fire dungeon being harder than the water, you know, one, or gym, I should say, just have it to where if you've been to 2 dungeons, the third one is higher level Pokemon. and you go to the next one, it's going to have higher level Pokemon than before. And you can just scale the difficulty very easily that way. Because I've heard some people be like, oh, but wouldn't you have to make all of them easy? But you wouldn't really, because you can just scale the Pokemon's levels.
But there's something similar, actually, in Sun and Moon, where, you know, you can... It gets a little harder, but they are kind of dungeon-like, each, like, you know, totem area. So I could see, if you do make it open-ended, like you're saying, they can simply scale the difficulty up the level. It's something as simple as that. So they could do that. I could see that. I like that idea, actually.
Yeah, I also think they should definitely have your Pokemon follow you. Like, you should be able to see them walking behind you.
I love that feature in Soul Silver. That was one of my favorite features. One of my favorite features in the Yellow version. So that's something that they don't need to do, but they totally could do, and it'd be cool.
I don't know. I think they got the extra processing power for it. I think it's going to be something people expect to see.
Oh, maybe.
I think
maybe
it's been
right.
something people have been asking for a while. I think people are going to expect to see it, and I think it needs to be like, it needs to be to scale. It can't be, you know, like you got a tiny little Charizard over it. No, you can't just have a tiny little, you know, fully evolved Charizard.
I mean, the thing, we'll see. If they have something,
it needs to be right. I think it needs to be the right proportions.
We'll see.
I mean, how cool would that be if you have just a giant Pokemon following you?
Well, the thing is, there are different sizes of Pokemon, so if you have a Wailord following you around, that won't make any sense. It's a giant blue... It's basically a blue whale, okay? Like, how is the whale gonna move? How is the whale gonna move? Are you gonna have it...
Fly?
Are you gonna have, like, a leash? So, if you go into a more realistic style... When you go... I'm gonna... Actually, Kimishima, I'm gonna read your comment in a minute, okay? I saw it. I think it's interesting. But think of... Okay, here's the thing. If you go for a more realistic style like that, right? When you go for a more realistic style, you come into another problem. You lose the freedom to kind of be more comical with how you do things. Because all of a sudden, you know, there's different things you may do. It may become more jarring. Does that make sense? So, for example... If the game is more realistic and they're with proportions and way things move and react, if they did allow for your Pokemon to follow you, how would they do Wailord? Do you have any idea how big Wailord is?
No.
It is. No, if they do it to scale, like, it just wouldn't work. The amount of camera issues you would have would be obscene. It would be basically a giant. It's a giant whale. It's huge. It's like 100 times bigger than you, at least. So...
Well, maybe they could have some sort of, you know, in-game reason for him being smaller. Like, certain Pokemon being smaller. I don't know.
Maybe. Like I said, I would love to see them...
There's a way they can do it.
Yes, and to your point, though, in Ultra Sun and Moon, we did see a lot more moving Pokemon models that were... They weren't exactly as well made during, like, the battle sequences, but you could tell that they were, you know, proportional-ish to the characters moving around, the NPCs. So I could see more of that. I could see more of that and, you know, some version of that, maybe, and maybe they could have Pokemon following. But let me go to the comments, because I know there's some interesting things that were said. So... Right, so Kimishima was saying he was asking about the original Pokemon, but then he says, not only that, it would sell better with older Pokemon, because older fans who abandon the series only like the originals... Yeah, he has friends who tells him that all the time. Yeah, actually, it actually kind of goes with what I was saying earlier, how I would like it if they were to go back to both Johto and Kanto and use some of the older Pokemon. Fun fact, actually, a lot of the Pokemon that came out in Generation 2 were planned as they were making the Pokemon in Generation 1. So Generation 1 and 2 kind of go hand in hand together. So when we talk about the original 150, I actually sort of think of it as the original 251, not original 150. But let me continue, because I know there's a few more things that were said here. Right, I definitely think that it's just simply a great way to bring in more people. Since a lot of people are buying a Switch, a lot more people who don't normally buy Pokemon will buy it on the Switch. And having those familiar Pokemon from Johto and Kanto, the original games, even Silver and Gold as well, that will bring in a large audience. I totally agree with that. But... as Sun Gohan said, I think he said it right, to slowly integrate the other regions, the other Pokemon as you progress through the game. Totally agree with you guys. I definitely think that's a good idea. I think that's probably what they're going to do. So yeah, definitely.
No, I think there should have the older Pokemon for sure, but I think if they don't put any new Pokemon, that could, segregate their audience a little bit, because there's a lot of people who are younger who just got into Pokemon who are used to those newer Pokemon. So I think they should have them in some parts of the game. But I think they can do both. I don't think they have to do just all older ones or all newer ones. I think they can do both of those. Obviously, they probably wouldn't have all 700 plus Pokemon in a single game. It's probably not going to happen. That would take way too long to incorporate all of that. But I think they can have a good mixture of old and new. That would be good. Just try to at least mostly please everyone, because obviously you don't want to completely just sell this game towards the older audience, but you don't want to completely sell it towards just the newer audience as well. You want to kind of sell it to both of them. You want to sell it to both of those audiences. So you want to show something that because the older Pokemon may be familiar to people who are have been in the series for a while. That doesn't necessarily mean they're familiar to people who are new in the series who haven't seen those Pokemon. So, I mean, what's familiar to you is all based on what you have experience with. So the newer people who maybe don't have experience with these older games, they're not going to be familiar to them. They're not going to see that and go, oh, that's that Pokemon that I recognize, when I play it. No, because they haven't played that.
Right, but I mean,
I think
newer players are more accustomed to just newer Pokemon. So, if you incorporate older Pokemon, they're going to be like, okay. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I simply think that since there's such a large audience from the past, kind of like how the same reason Pokemon Go used the original 150, right? You're going to get a large audience playing this game, and it's best to, really gear the game around that, having at least the original 150 to be accessible immediately, and then everything else, you can grow into. It doesn't have to be like Pokemon Go exactly, where you only see the first 150 for a year. No, it's going to be all the Pokemon are going to be available in the game, right? But most of the Pokemon in the region you're going to explore are going to be based off the original 150. But it will slowly expand. It may even be possible that you could pick your region. Maybe they're going to make the game so big that there'll be multiple regions and you can pick which one you start from. That'd be interesting, right? But ultimately, I think if they're going to go with a generation, they're gonna go with, Johto or Kanto, or if Johto's involved, it's like a combination on top of Kanto, And the other new ones, if it's not an entirely new generation, right, and they just create a new region, then it'll be going back to the older ones, and they'll slowly incorporate the others in some way. Maybe not exploring those regions, but at least having the Pokemon. So they're not gonna delete Pokemon. There's no way that's gonna happen. They're gonna be in the game. It's just how they will be incorporated. Well, we'll see how they figure that out. So that's what I think is going to happen. And I'm really excited for the potential of the Stadium mode. I think that would be amazing. I would love that so much. I miss Stadium. I love the minigames too.
Stadium is like the only Pokemon game I've ever owned. It's Pokemon Stadium.
Right,
so
well,
I like that game a lot.
And Stadium's geared for for home console, so since Pokemon Switch is going to be on home console, incorporating a Stadium-like mode would be awesome. To be honest, they don't even have something that... They have something sort of like that already in the Pokemon games. It's when you go to the Battle Tower or the Battle Subway, you have can do there's even rental options sometimes, so they just have to expand that really and allow it with local multiplayer. So they can do something like that, definitely, I think. I'm just reading the comments here, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too. That's interesting. Do you think they would have amiibo cards for every amiibo, or for every Pokemon in the game?
Hell no. It's just too much.
I don't know, they could do it.
Sun Gohan
They make a lot of money.
I have an idea here that I can see happening. Since we have amiibo of Pokemon like Pikachu and Mewtwo, what if that is a Pokemon you add to your Pokedex automatically? Maybe. Yeah, if you put in your amiibo, that will update the Pokedex with that Pokemon. That's something I could see, actually, for sure. I just don't see them literally creating amiibo cards for every single Pokemon. That's just unreasonable.
Well,
That's a lot of NFC chips.
They have a lot of them for Animal Crossing. They have like tons.
How much is tons?
Gosh, they have so much.
How much is tons? 20?
Well, I mean, not as
30?
obviously not as. No, I mean I'm talking like I think they have like maybe even 100. I don't know. I think they have a bunch.
Okay, but for Pokemon, that number is like 8 times bigger.
No, I know it is. I'm not saying for every Pokemon. I'm saying every Pokemon that appears in this game.
Well,
or the major ones.
Well, okay, so whenever there's a new Pokemon game, there's like a regional dex, right? But after a certain point, you'll unlock the national dex, which literally allows for every single Pokemon in existence. So, if you mean like regional dex cards, I guess
that's what I'm saying.
They theoretically could do that, but like
they make a killing.
Yes, they'd make a killing. I'm not sure they would do that. I don't see it. I don't know. I definitely see them making like amiibos for the starter Pokemon though.
Yeah.
That I can see happening. You know, and especially.
Do you think they'll have more than 3 starter Pokemon? Do you think if they have? You don't think so?
I don't know.
Maybe if they have that idea you were saying where maybe you could choose which region you start in, and if there's multiple regions, do you think there would be 3 starters per region?
Yeah, if they were to do that, maybe.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
But the thing is, each region that's huge. Like, it's at
maybe
that
the
point
regions aren't as big, and there's 3 smaller regions that make up the size of one normal region.
Maybe.
They all have their own starters. I don't think it'd be that hard.
I think it's fair to say that we'll at least get amiibo for the starter Pokemon.
Yeah.
And Pikachu. That's it.
Yeah.
Anything else is just kind of crazy.
I don't know.
I think.
Maybe they'll have something where people vote for their favorite Pokemon and they get amiibo cards.
Maybe. I don't know. Cool. I mean, I'm not against the idea of having cards that have NFC readers in them. It's just, that's a lot of cards. That's all. It's just crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's just crazy. That's just so much. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just because I haven't played Pokemon that I'm just, like, completely don't understand. But how many are in a typical Pokemon game? Like, 300?
All of them?
I mean, in a national dex.
You mean the regional dex?
Yeah, that.
Regional dex?
What I said.
I don't know. Maybe somewhere between, like, 150 and 200.
Yeah.
Maybe 250 sometimes. Actually, it can get... I have to go back and check, but it's at least a few hundred. At least a couple hundred.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do the best ones or something.
Why? Just force people to buy normal Pokemon cards, you know, and have the few amiibo, and I don't.
Because people would buy them. That's
we've been arguing about amiibo for a while now, so you know, let's just stop. There's gonna be at least starters. Maybe there'll be amiibo cards. I have no idea. It would be crazy if they created a line of Pokemon trading cards that had NFC readers in them. That would be insane. I have no idea how expensive that is, though. But if they literally started releasing booster packs that had NFC readers in them, that'd just be on another level for me. But maybe that's what it is. That'd be interesting, for sure. Anyways, I feel like we've kind of gone over some of the ideas. Is there anything else you think we may be seeing from the next Pokemon on Switch before we call this discussion a night?
I'm not that familiar with Pokemon, so I'm not completely sure. But I don't know. I mean, if it's there would be some.
Okay, so since you're not familiar with Pokemon, let me ask you this: what could they do with Pokemon that would get you really into it?
If what I want Pokemon to be, I want Pokemon to be a big open world game where it's not an RPG and you have you play as the Pokemon. Like when you battle, you fight as the Pokemon, and it's like you go around and you do different tournaments and you control the actual Pokemon. That's what I want.
No, just play Pokemon tournament.
The battles, yeah, like the battles are kind of like Pokemon tournament, but you also have like a full-on Pokemon story.
Yeah, I don't think
what I want.
I don't think that's gonna happen at all. No, it's definitely it's always gonna be an RPG. So you know,
they could do something. You never know.
I think it's always gonna be a turn-based RPG.
Yeah, the only reason I haven't bought a Pokemon game is because it's just been inconvenient. just because every time I want to buy one, it's just like there's another system that just came out. I'm like, oh, I'm moving over to this next system, but Pokemon isn't. So it's just Pokemon's just always been behind. So, and I've just moved on to the next thing already by the time the Pokemon game came out. So I'm just like,
yeah.
No, thanks.
So I guess to recap what I think we could be seeing for Pokemon. Since it's on a console, local multiplayer in the stadium in the form of like a stadium mode that you can expand as you play through the game. Maybe you can incorporate mini games, right? I think it's gonna have stronger online features. It's gonna be close, if it's not entirely open world, it's gonna be a lot more open than Ultra Sun and Moon. You're gonna be able to explore in 3D, have full exploration of 3D movements. The graphics are obviously gonna be a lot better, and maybe I think they'll probably go back to at least the original 150. I would love to see the original 251, and there will be some ways to get all the other Pokemon after that as well. That's what I think they're going to be doing, and I think the ability for the Switch to really be catered towards a tournament-like style for Pokemon would be great. I think they might make an even bigger push for Pokemon as an esport, so I could definitely see all of that happening. Well, I guess we'll find out maybe in January when Nintendo has their big direct along with Metroid Prime 4. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess that's it for now, guys. If you have any questions or anything else you want to say, tell us in the comments below. We'll get back to it sooner or later. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you guys have a great night. I'll see you all really soon. As soon as I find my mouse. There it is. All right. Bye, guys.